Well, thank you, Prince Katleho. We're in the royal kitchen, for sure. Van gevleelde musiek na foutloze kos. Caitlin, what are we making today?
We are making a traditional British steamed pudding.
A steamed pudding?
Yes.
Well, it sounds good to me. I love dessert, especially in the morning. So let's get started. What do we need to create this?
So a steamed jam pudding is otherwise known as an Ashfield pudding. Now, in Britain, they love to, have specialities that come from specific regions. We've got a Sussex pond pudding, so they've all got very strange names.
Right.
But this is just, the steamed jam pudding that maybe your grandmother might have made for you if you're that way inclined. And so what we're going to start off by mixing our dry ingredients together. So we've got our flour in here and our caster sugar, and then we've got some baking powder.
Right.
And our steamed puddings are generally quite heavy, actually. So, it's not the light and fluffy baked pudding that you would expect. And so we're just going to mix those together. And then we're going to rub in our Stork bake. Now, traditional British puddings actually use suet. Now, suet is a type of animal fat, but it's really difficult to get hold of. And this just makes it a little bit more accessible for everybody at home. And you need it to be very soft because you're going to rub it in. So I've got 60 grams. I'm going to guesstimate because I'm quite good at that.
Guesstimate, okay. I'm sure you can never have enough. So
very good at that, yeah. So we're going to put in our Stork bake and then just rub it in with the fingertips. The reason you use your fingertips is because it's the coldest part of your body. So
okay.
You don't want to end up with a melted mess, even though the margarine is a little bit soft. We're just going to rub that in.
I'm looking at the finished product now, and teas are so exciting and it's interesting. You can do so much with it, not just a kitchen tea or a baby shower like we've been calling it the whole morning, but you can do so much with it. What would you have it with? I see we've got our traditional tea. Is that how you serve it?
Well, look, steamed pudding is a very British thing, and obviously tea is very British.
Right.
And I have taken a little bit of a poetic license, and they would normally eat cake at an afternoon tea, but because it's winter here, why not serve pudding in little cups? So it is a form of cake. It's got that dense texture. It's got the jam at the bottom, and we're going to serve it with whipped cream because we've got whipped cream on the table already for the scones. So we have taken a bit of a poetic license, but the pudding is so quintessentially British.
Well, you've done really well there, rubbing all our Stork in there. Okay, so what do we do next?
So now we're going to add the the milk. Oop, confused by all this margarine. And then we've got our egg.
And we only use one egg?
Yes, one egg.
One would imagine with a pudding like this, you'd use so many ingredients, but you actually don't, okay?
No, because remember, it is quite dense, so...
Yeah.
And we're just going to mix that in. And traditionally, puddings are actually, the British puddings, actually were savoury. So think of like black pudding.
Right.
So the name actually comes from sausage, meat sausage, which is...
Like an actual savoury pudding filled with meat.
Yes, because those were like in medieval times, and then they kind of changed to be sweet. So that's quite a little interesting fact. And then we're going to make ours in teacups. If you want to use little bowls, you can make a big bowl if you want. And then I'm going to drop in a spoon of jam. I'm using apricot jam, but you're welcome to use raspberry.
Strawberry jam?
Strawberry jam would be delicious as well.
It's my favourite. That's the only reason I'm asking.
And then, of course, you get your treacle sponge pudding as well, which you could use syrup or treacle in the bottom. And then we're just going to spoon some of this mixture in the top. And now the trick here is not to overfill it too much, because remember, it's going to rise a bit. You've got that baking powder in there. So just a little bit.
Straight into our cup, okay. I can't wait to see how you're going to make this.
And then what you would do is you would cover it with foil. So you'd put a piece of foil over there, and you'd pop it in. So we've got in a pot here.
Oh, wow.
This is very strange.
Okay.
We've got a dishcloth in a pot.
Did you just fold it normally and put it on top of the hot water?
Yes, so you're going to steam the pudding, but you don't want the cup to touch the bottom of the pot, which is the direct heat, because then it's going to basically bake.
Right, so how would you place it inside? I'm just curious.
So you would put them in like that. Remember, you've got the foil on top, and then you cover the lid.
So without the actual saucer?
The saucer, yeah.
Right.
The saucer is just to make it look pretty.
Well, how long do we keep it in the pot?
So you would then steam it for the little ones for about 45 minutes. If you're doing a bigger one, it will take longer. It will take 2 hours.
Wow, this is exciting. So you could create and make this as well. Our keyword today is Stork. The word Stork to 33728, and you'll get a list of the Pick n Pay ingredients, as well, of course, a link to the recipe of how Caitlin created this. A finished product with a beautiful risen little pudding in there, and this time not savoury, it's a sweet pudding.
It's a sweet one. I'm just going to add a little dollop of cream because everything is made better with whipped cream.
Do you know that cream actually doesn't make fat? Okay, I made that up.
I almost believed you.
I'm just curious as to how it's doing.
It's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while because our foil's also not on
and
it.
also remember, steam is a much lower heat than, say, in your oven.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a while, but that is what gives it that. You'll see it's nice, dense texture. It's beautiful. It's moist. And
it's a little bit heavier than your conventional cooking. Okay.
Definitely.
So the keyword Stork to 33728 to get a list of the ingredients and also a list, a link to the recipe of how to create this. So,
verdict? You need to get some of the jam at the bottom. That's like the ooey gooey.
I know it's in the bottom. It's really good. This is really, really good.
And it's I mean, it's easy. It does take a little bit of patience with the steaming, but if you've got a steamer at home,
you can do it in the steamer as well.
It's going to be a lot easier.
Well, it sounds good to me. Well, there we go, my little teacup. Leigh-Anne, you're next. Thank you.
Stork, best for baking.